Hi babies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya Danielle, and as you can see from today's title, we are going to be getting into everything apartment related when it comes to moving out of your parents' house and securing your very first apartment. This really doesn't have an age limit per se. I'd say that it'd definitely be easier to get your own apartment if you are a little bit higher up in the age group, like 20, 21, 22 and above. But if you are 18, 19 and you're hustling, you're getting your money, you shouldn't have any problem with this. So I'm not even going to go on too long. We're going to go ahead and get right into the video. Okay, everything that I have as far as moving into your first apartment is written down in my notebook here. It's really not that much when you think about it. The main things that you really want to keep into consideration is money, making sure that you're ready, like mentally and overall. Like I said, having help. Those are the things that aren't really listed here, but making sure you have help moving, all that stuff. Don't be ready to move if you have nobody to help you move, because it is a large process. If I was moving out on my own and I didn't have any help, I don't know how I would have had half of anything done. But let's get into the first topic, which is budgeting. So once you decide, hey, I'm ready to move out, I want a place of my own, you have to start, one, looking at your finances. I'd look at your finances before you even start trying to find a place. Once you decide the place that you want to, or kind of like a price range, then you can really narrow it down. But I'd start looking, do I have enough money to move out right now at this moment, or am I going to have enough money to move out? Am I making enough money pay stub wise? Or if you have like a job like I do makeup, so am I going to be making enough money to be able to sustain living out on my own? If the answer is yes, then we can keep proceeding. So what I did was I went on apartments.com. I really only use apartments.com when it came to searching for my apartment. I went on apartments.com. I looked up what I wanted. So you kind of want to make sure you have a pros and cons, not pros and cons, but like a needs versus wants list of things that you need versus things that you kind of just want, and if you don't get it, you'll be okay as far as apartments goes, as well as kind of a price range that you're wanting to stick within. So my price range that I was wanting to stick within, being in Charlotte, North Carolina, was about, you know, the cheapest $1,000 obviously, and then the most $1,400. I didn't want to pay anything lower, because 9 times out of 10, if you're paying lower than $1,000, you're not going to get that luxury look. And if you're paying more than $1,500, especially for, I only wanted a 1-bedroom, I feel like you're getting scammed. I feel like $1,400 is you're getting scammed too, but that's kind of on the lower side of the 1-bedrooms that I've seen that are luxury. I don't know. If y'all have any more, please point me in the direction to them, because once my lease is up, I will probably be looking for somewhere else to go, just off of little tiny things that are in my list of my wants versus my needs. And once you get into your apartment, you'll start figuring out some stuff that you know you don't want when you move the next time. But anywho, so say for instance, wood floors, that was a big one for me. I wanted to make sure that I had wood floors at least in my living room and my like living room, kitchen, and bathroom. I did not want carpet or tile. I don't have a problem with tile, but I would prefer to have wood floors in an apartment. I would prefer to have wood floors in a bedroom, but it really just depends. But that was one of my main things. The second thing, I'll give this was a want, not a need. I wanted a laundry room and not a laundry closet, but I could not find a laundry closet. Well, a laundry room. A laundry room is basically, in my opinion, when you have two, like a washer and a dryer beside each other, and you have space to put stuff up top, you know, fold clothes if need be, like things like that, versus just a laundry closet, which is literally you open up the door and the only thing there is the stackable like washer and dryer. That was one of my like things that I wanted, but wasn't too like iffy on. Once you get that and you kind of have in your head you look for the things that you want and you see the price range in those things, you have to start deciding, okay, well, this apartment may have this that I need, and then this one may have something that I want. Can I, you know, based off the price range, basically. It all goes based off the price. So if an apartment has everything that you need, but something that you want isn't there, but it is cheaper than this other one that you might really, really want, and, you know, have all of your needs in it, I'd honestly go with the one that's a little bit cheaper if like your money is a big deal, a big issue, like you want to make sure you're staying within your budget. There was a lot of stuff here that, you know, I would have wanted to change, but price wise this was really good for what I wanted, and most of my needs, pretty much all of my needs are here. It's just a few wants. So that's the first thing that I'd say. Excuse me. Once you get a couple apartments down, I put down probably like, I was in between. I made a tab on my phone. I don't know what it's called, but it's like a tab group or something where it's called apartment, and I literally go on apartments.com and get open up multiple tabs. It's called a tab group, multiple tabs where they're different apartments. So I think I had like 5 or 6 down, and I consistently go look to see if anything was changing. And once you have down what price range you're kind of going towards, then we can start getting a little bit deeper into the money. So at this point in time, for me at least, I don't have a consistent paying job. At the time that I started wanting to get an apartment, it was in February, and coming up was, what was it? It was prom, and then graduation season right after that. So I knew that I was gonna have an influx of money coming in. So I immediately, and when I say immediately, I mean immediately, started saving. Because with my job, which this is not as difficult if you have a regular job where you have, you know, pay stubs or whatever. When you're getting an apartment, 9 times out of 10, it's either 2.5 times the rent or it's 3 times the rent. Luckily here, I only needed to do 2.5 times the rent, so that was wonderful. But you want to make sure that if you have an unconventional job like me, that you're saving your money up ahead of time. And another key tip that I would give you guys is to make sure that once you have a decent amount saved up, you're starting to put it into your bank account. Now, what I mean by that is, if you need to make 3 times that rent, make sure that with whatever money you're saving up, especially because with me, I do cash. Like for my clients, they give me cash. I will get all of my cash, I put it in a shoebox, and once it started getting close to like the 2nd month mark before it was time to get my apartment, I started putting aside that money and putting it into my bank account. So once they went to check for my proof of income, that money would be there, and they would show that money is going into my account, instead of just coming up to them and being like, hey, I'm a makeup artist, here's the money. No, they want to make sure you're able to pay it, so they want to see it going into your account. I would literally put lump sums in my account and then save up some more, put a whole bunch in, so then they'd see like, okay, she's making even more than 3 times the rent here. So we can do that even if you have slow months later, which I will get into that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much the first thing. If you have a regular job, like also save up your money as well, but just make sure that with your pay stubs that it's adding up to 2.5, depending on the apartment. I know a lot of places aren't doing 3 anymore, they're doing 2.5, but majority are 3 times the rent. Make sure that it's adding up to 3 times the rent every single month. It has to be 3 times the rent or more, or 2.5 times the rent or more. Call the apartment complex to ask them. I'd still do 3 times the rent just to be safe, because I didn't even know my apartment complex was 2 times the rent, 2.5 times the rent, until I asked them over the phone. I was already thinking 3 times. So that's the first one. When it comes to budgeting, making sure you're looking for exactly what you want and what you need in your apartment, things that you are like, okay, I'm not that big on this, but this can kind of get some wiggle room. Those, putting aside exactly which apartments you're looking at and the price ranges for those, and working however many months, even if it's not months, it's like weeks or something, making sure you're working towards your goal. So that's the first tip. The next tip that I have, honestly, isn't really like a tip, but credit is really important sometimes when it comes to apartments, mainly luxury apartments. There are some landlords with apartment complexes that aren't like luxury that can kind of give you some wiggle room, but I'd say to make sure your credit score is as high as possible. I'm pretty sure a 650 and up, don't get me wrong. So sorry y'all, my camera cut off. But as I was saying, I'm pretty sure a 650 and up credit score should be good. 700 obviously is really good, and I feel like you should strive towards that, and anything above that is just amazing. I made sure I got my credit score up to, I think, like a 750, or yeah, like it was like a 760 or something right before I got my apartment. I've always been really good with my credit, so that's another reason why it's just easier for me to, you know, it's easier for people in general if your credit score is high to get things, and for people to trust you with paying on time if your credit score is good, because that shows that you've paid on time, you haven't been late for things, so they can trust you more. And it also goes with like lending people money, like for cars and stuff. Just make sure your credit is good. Some places don't really care too much, but I'd still make sure at least that you're working towards it. So paying off anything that you need to pay off, getting rid of any extra debt, all of that, to make sure your credit score is up there by the time you're ready to sign that lease. So that's tip number 2. Okay, next up for tip number 3 is making sure that you are thoroughly touring and asking questions about the apartment complex. Now, once you've kind of gotten your budget down packed, and even before you get your budget down packed, I'd still call the apartment complex beforehand just to ask them little bits of questions, especially if you are someone like me with a self-employed job. A lot of places need tax information. Since you can't do pay stubs, you need to verify like your bank statements. Ask them. I'd say it'd be better off, especially if you aren't the best with your taxes or you haven't started your taxes for said business yet, to do a company that only does, well, not only does, but can take bank statements. Sorry, it took me a while to get that out. I was running into places that only did bank statements and tax documents, and I don't have any tax documents that show the majority of my money since my business really took off this year, so that really wouldn't have been helpful for me. So making sure that you're only applying to places that really fit into what you're doing and are accommodating for your situation. So that's the first tip. But anywho, when you're touring these apartment complexes, make sure that you're thoroughly asking questions. If you see people there before like the tour starts, or if you're touring on your own, because I know some places do self-guide tours, make sure you're getting the residents that actually live there, asking them questions about their place and do they like it here, pros and cons, all of those things before you tour the place. Well, it can happen whenever, but making sure you're reading the reviews on the place. Some people say not to read the reviews, but I still read them. One of the main reasons why I chose this place was because I barely got any like red flags when it came to the reviews. There were some things about maintenance, which, yeah, I have had not really a problem with maintenance, but I had a maintenance guy come out, do something, say he ordered a part, and then kind of never came back. So I had to file another thing to say like, oh, maintenance, I need you. But other than that, there haven't been any problems here, and there weren't really many complaints in the review section. So I take heed to the reviews very much so. But when you're actually there and you're going on your apartment tour, make sure that they're showing you all of the amenities. You're asking questions about all the amenities. One of the main things that I didn't know about this particular complex was that the gym is not open 24/7. I don't like that. It's okay though, but like I wish it was open 24/7 so I could kind of go as I please. I'm more of a night owl, so I would like to be at the gym later than 9 o'clock, but you know, it is what it is. But asking questions, if there's dog accommodations, I know we have like a dog park here, and like places to wash your dog. I think we have a pool. I think our pool is like a saltwater pool, which is really cool. Games, clubhouse, office spaces where you can like use printers and laptops and things like that, community like activities within the apartment complex, like just so many things that you need to ask questions about if they're not specifically telling you, because there are some tour guides. I had ran into one that are kind of on the lazier side, and this is some place that you're going to be spending thousands of dollars, so I would make sure that you're getting the most out of your experience. Next up, once you actually, so I'm gonna kind of give you a breakdown of the apartment applying process, so that can be a little bit easier for you guys to understand if you've never been through it before. Once you see the place, I tour it first. Tour the place first. Once you've seen the place, you've seen your floor plan, I really wouldn't apply if you can't see your floor plan, because application fees are heavy sometimes. So make sure your floor plan is available so you can see what it's going to look like. Go online, put in your application after you put in all of your information and made sure everything was good. I had ran into a couple of problems with my application only because my email wasn't working, but that was just particular to me. Other than that, it really would have been smooth sailing. Once they get all of your proof of income, so whether that be your pay stubs or your bank statements, then they'll let you know whether or not you were approved. And before you sign your lease, check out your apartment. Now the problem with me was my apartment would not be ready until my move-in day. So once you apply, you set like a move-in date that you want if you get approved, and mine was set for June the 10th. So my apartment was not ready until June the 10th, and even when I got there, my apartment still wasn't ready, and they had to show me a completely different apartment, but it was the same floor plan. Make sure you see your floor, like your exact apartment, before you sign your lease. You're going through making sure everything's working, the outlets are working, the water is working, the lights, well, the lights might not be on, but the lights are working, like there's nothing broken. And also make sure you're taking pictures of things that could possibly be messed up and keeping record of it. Usually they'll have like a paper or something for you to send in to them, or like email them, so they'll see all the damages or have the damages documented, so that they'll know once you get ready to move out, because you are going to have to pay a deposit, that everything is in the same condition it was when you got there and you didn't mess anything up. That's another thing, is deposits. Your deposit for your thing, when you get ready to apply for your apartment, you're gonna pay your application fee, which sometimes can be like $70, and then there's an admin fee. I think my admin fee was like $250 or $200. Don't really know what that is, but you have to pay it. And then once you get approved, you're gonna once you like are ready to sign your lease, you're gonna go in there 9 times out of 10 with a cashier's check that you get from the bank with the exact amount of your first month's rent, whether it be prorated. And all that prorated means is if you move in on the day that's not the first, they're not gonna charge you for the entirety of the month. So they're gonna charge you a little bit less than, depending on what day you moved in. So I think mine was like $900 or something dollars. So you're gonna pay that plus your deposit, whatever they tell you your deposit is. Sometimes the higher your credit score is, the lower your deposit will be. Sometimes it can be 0, and sometimes at most it's gonna be about not 2 times the rent. It's basically gonna be the rent, like your first month's rent, it's gonna be that. So whatever your regular first month's rent is, that plus whatever the prorated is. So if that makes any sense to you. But yeah, you're gonna go there with that. I don't know if you need your ID. I can't remember if I needed my ID, but your ID, you're gonna have to sign up for renter's insurance, which is very easy. I have a problem with mine. I have to fix that, but it's nothing that's my fault. It's the company's fault. But yeah, it's really easy to set up your renter's insurance, and then you're pretty much good to go. Once you sign your lease, you literally have your apartment. Like, apartment, I promise you, getting an apartment is not that difficult as long as you have a method of saving your money. One of my favorite methods of saving money was the 100 envelope challenge. I don't even know if I have it in here with me, but I had that. So you do $1 for every day all the way up until 100. I kind of did that to get me started off. I didn't make it all the way to 100, but after that I went and started putting a little bit of my money aside. So for me, I'm a makeup artist. I do deposits. So I put $30, which are my deposits, that went into my bank account for any bills, pretty much any bills. I was very, very, very frugal with my spending. I was not spending anything from February up until the end of, well, really up until the beginning of June, because I went on a trip. So up until then, the money was tight. We wasn't spending anything. And all the rest of the money that I made, that my clients are giving me like in my hand for their appointment, like the remainder, that went into my savings. So all of that money, which I get paid like sometimes like $80 to $70 each client, and for my working, I was doing like 12 clients a day, like 12 clients every Saturday and some in between the rest of the week. So that was a good amount of money. I saved up about $10,000 almost before I moved, within from February to June, so like 3 months. You really got to do what you got to do. I made sure that I had enough rent for my slow season, which I'm in right now. My clients are not I had like 50 clients, 60 clients within a month. Now I'm probably somewhere at like 20. So it slows down drastically. And if you do something that's not a guaranteed because you are an entrepreneur, I'd say to make sure you have that extra cushion. So I had all of that extra cushion. I have months worth of rent that I don't have to worry about. I'm in here chilling. I also had some money to go towards my furniture, so I bought a couch, I bought my bar stools, I bought my bed, all of those things. So you want to make sure that you're being very stingy with your money, making sure you're not eating out too much. That's the one thing that I did spend a lot of my money on that was in my bank account, was DoorDash. That's just, I don't do it anymore though, but that was one of the main things. But yeah, making sure you're sticking to your timeline, being on point with your savings, not taking any money at all out of your savings. I still don't even play like that till this day. I don't like taking any money out of my savings because that is going towards my rent still. Touring your apartment, making sure you like everything, making sure everything is up to your standards. Credit score, making sure your credit score is good, and little things. I don't really know how to get into credit score really for people that don't know much about it, but if you have a credit card, just making sure you're paying off your balance. If you have stuff that you're paying off for loans, like I have a car note, making sure you're paying that on time, and if you can afford to, pay a little bit extra on it. Yeah, little things like that. So that's pretty much my tips on how to get into your first apartment. It was very easy for me. I don't know how it could have been for other people. I was also blessed to be going through a really good makeup season and was blessed with lots of money, lots of clients. So if you have any questions, you can definitely comment them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.